You were taught that saying yes makes you good. But the most dangerous habit isn't anger, it's obedience disguised as kindness. Have you ever just sat there after a long day, your phone vibrating, messages coming in, and even though you're exhausted, you still answer, of course. Not because you want to, but because you don't know how to say no. And if that feels familiar, understand this. This isn't a story. This is a pattern that destroys people quietly. Today you're going to understand what an empath destroys by never saying no, and why Nietzsche would have called it one of the most dangerous forms of self-abandonment. She was sitting in her car, in the parking lot, her hand still on the steering wheel. Her shift had ended 20 minutes ago, but she couldn't move. Her phone kept buzzing. A message from her mother. "Can you stop by real quick?" Another from work. "Sorry to bother you, but can you handle something?" And a third from a friend. "I need to talk, it's urgent." She stared at the screen and did what she always did. She took a breath and replied, "Of course." But this time, the moment she typed the word, something inside her cracked. It wasn't tears. It wasn't anger. It was worse. It was emptiness. Like her body had given up before her mind did. She leaned her head back against the seat and thought, "I can't do this anymore. I can't be me anymore. This isn't laziness. This isn't a lack of gratitude. It has a name that very few people truly understand. Emotional exhaustion. And it doesn't happen because you work too much. It happens because you abandon yourself too much. Because there is a kind of person who lives as if they are always indebted to the world. Always owing kindness. Always owing patience. Always owing presence. And the strangest part is that the world calls that virtue. But Nietzsche would have called it something else. He would have called it domestication. Before we go further, tell me where you're watching from. It's strange how people so far apart can carry the exact same quiet weight inside. You've met someone like this. The person who apologizes for existing, who says sorry before they even speak, who feels guilty for resting, guilty for saying no, guilty even for breathing in peace. They aren't weak, they're trained, because at some point in life they learned a silent rule. If I'm easy, I'll be loved. So they become the one who solves everything, the one who listens to everyone, the one who carries it all. And no one notices that this isn't strength, it's survival. They don't help because they want to. They help because they're afraid of what happens if they stop. And here comes the dangerous question. How many times in your life were you called good, when in reality you were just disappearing? How many times were you praised for patience, when you never felt allowed to complain? How many times did someone say, "You're so strong," while inside you were begging for someone to whisper, "You don't have to carry everything"? Nietzsche once said something terrifying because it feels too true. The morality of the world was not built to free you. It was built to control you. The world loves good people, but it loves even more the good people who don't take up space, the good people who never set limits, the good people who keep saying of course, even while dying inside. Nietzsche called this the morality of the herd, a morality that turns self-sacrifice into goodness and freedom into selfishness. And do you know what real healing actually begins with? It isn't meditation. It isn't positivity. It's the first no you say without over-explaining. It's the first silence. It's the moment you realize, I was not made to be a resting place for everyone else. Because the uncomfortable truth is this: emotional exhaustion doesn't come from work. It comes from the role you agreed to live inside. And when you begin to step out of it, the world will call it selfishness. But maybe it's just you, returning to yourself. She was still in the car, one hand on the wheel, the phone in the other. And the most frightening part wasn't the number of messages. It was the feeling that if she didn't answer, something bad would happen. Not a real disaster, an emotional one. The other person would feel rejected. They might turn cold. They might disappear. And her mind, trained for years, translated that into danger. That's when she realized the ugliest truth. She didn't say of course because she was kind. She said it because she was afraid. Afraid of being seen as difficult. Afraid of disappointing. Afraid of losing the place she built in the world. The place of the good one. At the hospital, she was the nurse who never complained. The one who covered shifts at the last minute. The one who solved everyone else's problems before her own. And that earned praise. But praise doesn't sustain a soul. Now imagine someone else. A man in his 30s, sitting under fluorescent office lights, a screen glowing in front of him. He's the reliable one. the one everyone calls when something goes wrong. He never says no, because he learned that when you say no, the world turns its back. So he endures. He endures his boss. He endures his family. He endures friends who only show up when they need something, until one day something small happens. He forgets a simple task, and his boss says, "You've been distracted. What's going on with you?" It's not the criticism that breaks him. It's the sentence. Because in that moment he understands, I gave everything, and I'm still only a function. He walks into the bathroom, looks at himself in the mirror, and he doesn't feel anger. He feels nothing. That is emotional exhaustion, not sadness. Shut down. The system enters survival mode so it doesn't collapse. Nietzsche had an obsession. He didn't trust goodness when it was automatic, because automatic goodness isn't choice, it's conditioning. And conditioning creates people who do good, without ever asking why. The problem is, when you live this way, you don't notice the moment care becomes self-punishment. You don't notice when you become someone who offers themselves to avoid being abandoned, and then life becomes a tax, an emotional toll. You pay with time, you pay with energy, you pay with presence, and you call it being good. Nietzsche would call it domestication. Now a third person, a woman her family calls the perfect daughter. She was always the one who never caused trouble, the one who never demanded, the one who swallowed emotions so she wouldn't disturb the peace. As a child, she noticed the house stayed calmer when she disappeared, so she learned how to vanish without leaving. She grows up functional. She works, helps, carries, fixes. But when something finally breaks, when she reaches her limit, when she whispers, "I need help," the response comes almost automatically. Now, but you've always handled everything. That sentence is a verdict, because it reveals the truth. The world praises you while you endure, but it grows unfamiliar with you when you need. She smiles, says, "It's okay," and later, alone, cries with rage. Rage from being strong for too long, and that becomes silent resentment. The nurse felt something similar. She looked at the messages and realized her life had become a line of demands. And the question was not, how do I manage it all? The question was, why did I accept living as if I owe unlimited access to myself? She thought, if I don't answer, they'll think I'm a bad person. And then the shock, but why do I have to be good all the time? It's a simple question, but it's dynamite, because it isn't about manners. It's about identity. She didn't know who she was without being useful, without being needed, without playing the role. And that's where healing begins. Not in a mantra, but in a small choice. If this is resonating with you, you might want to stay here. This channel explores these quiet truths for people who've been carrying too much for too long. If you want to overcome emotional exhaustion, the first thing is accepting a truth that hurts. You're not tired just because you do too much. You're tired because you're trying to be acceptable all the time. That changes everything. Because healing is not rest. Healing is pulling your life out of autopilot. And the first act is small but brutal. Delaying the response. Not ignoring. Not being cruel. Just delaying. Looking at a demand and thinking, I will answer when I can, not when I'm pressured. For a normal person, that's nothing. For an emotionally exhausted person, it's revolution. Because your body will react. You will feel anxiety, guilt, urgency, fear, and that is proof you were trapped. Guilt is the alarm, not a moral compass. It's conditioning. The second step is even more uncomfortable. Stop over-explaining. The exhausted person doesn't just say no. They give a speech, they justify, soften, apologize for their own limit. But a limit is not a crime. Excess explanation is an attempt to preserve approval. It's negotiating your right to exist. So the practice is simple. I can't today. Not right now. I'll respond later. Short. No drama. Nietzsche would say this is the beginning of strength. Enduring tension without buying peace through self-abandonment. And the third step is what truly separates those who heal from those who return to the cycle. Accepting the social cost of healing. No one tells you this. When you begin to protect yourself, some people react. Because they lost access. They will say, you've changed. You're cold. You're selfish. And here is the rule. If your healing offends no one, you may still be shaping yourself to fit. You don't need to fight. You don't need to prove anything. You only need to hold the silence, hold the discomfort. Because the herd uses guilt as a rope, and you are letting go of the rope. She stared at the phone. 3 messages, 3 demands. She felt the old reflex, say, of course. But this time she did something different. She placed the phone beside her and waited. 10 seconds. 20. Her heart started racing. Her mind created scenarios. They'll be upset. They'll think I'm bad. They'll leave me. And then, for the first time, she realized, this isn't empathy, this is fear of losing love. She breathed and chose a simple response. I saw your message. I'll get back to you later. No apologies. No explanations. And when she sent it, something strange happened. Not joy. Peace. A small, real peace. As if a piece of her finally came home. But now comes the hardest part. Because the world will not applaud this change. The world will test it. It will insist. It will pressure. And the question that defines everything is, what do you do when people punish your limits? That's where most people return. That's where healing becomes real, or becomes temporary rest. Now we enter the part no one likes to say out loud, how to recognize who truly wants you well, and who only wants you available. In the beginning, setting boundaries seems simple. A short message, a delayed reply, a not today. But what no one tells you is that the world doesn't accept change quietly. It tests, because people who are used to your of course don't hear a no, they hear a threat. And then come the phrases, are you okay? You seem different. You were never like this. I'm only asking one thing. It isn't a request. It's habit speaking. It's the old dynamic trying to return. And this is where most people quit. Not because they can't say no, but because they can't bear the guilt afterward. There is a kind of manipulation that doesn't look like manipulation. It comes dressed as vulnerability. I only have you. I don't know what I'd do without you. You always understood me. It sounds like love, but often it's dependency. It's someone turning your empathy into obligation. Nietzsche would say, the herd doesn't chain you with iron. It chains you with morality. With the belief that if you choose yourself, you are bad. And the emotionally exhausted person falls into it, because they were trained to do one thing. Be good before being free. Imagine a simple scene. She finally gets home after a draining day. Her phone buzzes. A friend wants to vent again, for the 5th time that week. She hesitates, thinks, I can't today, and then answers honestly, I can listen tomorrow, okay? Silence. Minutes later, okay, sorry for bothering you, but something is there. Coldness, an invisible punishment, and her conditioned brain panics. I hurt someone, but here's the truth. You didn't hurt someone. You frustrated access, and that is different. There is a simple criterion that changes everything. Someone who truly loves you, respects your boundaries without turning it into drama. Someone who uses you, turns your boundaries into personal attack. The healthy person says, of course, rest. The dependent person says, you've changed. The mature person says, I understand. The exploiter says, but I need you right now. This is not about cruelty. It's about reality. Healing requires facing something painful. Not all closeness is love. Sometimes it's convenience. Nietzsche spoke about something brutal. Most people don't want you free. They want you predictable. Free is someone who can walk away. Predictable is someone who always returns. The herd loves predictability because it offers control. And the emotionally exhausted person was shaped to be exactly that. Controllable, kind, available, self-sacrificing. Healing is when you stop being a function and return to being an individual. There comes a moment when everything clears. You realize your goodness was never questioned while it was destroying you. But the moment you protect yourself, reactions appear. And then you understand. Some people were never connected to you. They were connected to what you provided. And it hurts, because it feels like loss. But Nietzsche would say, you are not losing people. You are losing chains. Here is the practical secret. You don't respond with aggression. You respond with simplicity. No long justifications. No anger. No drama. Examples. I need rest today. I'll respond tomorrow. I can't right now. I understand, but I can't. The power is in the tone. Nietzsche would say, strength isn't yelling. Strength is not yielding. The healed person doesn't beg to be understood. They simply remain whole. Days later, she's back in the hospital parking lot. Her shift ends. Her phone buzzes. A message from work. Can you cover one more? She feels the old reflex rise like fever. Of course, ready on her fingertips. But something has changed. She looks at the screen, and for the first time, she hears her own life before everyone else's. She replies, "Not today, just that." 2 words, and the world doesn't end. The sky doesn't fall. The guilt comes, yes, like a shadow, but she doesn't obey it. She gets into the car, starts the engine, and drives away. Not as someone who gave up, but as someone who finally began. Emotional exhaustion is not a flaw, it's an alarm. A sign your soul is tired of living as a sacrifice. Nietzsche would not tell you to be more positive. He would tell you something more dangerous. Stop calling submission goodness. You don't need to stop feeling. You need to stop abandoning yourself, and when you do, the world will call it selfishness. But maybe it's just you, returning to yourself. If this gave words to something you've been feeling in silence, consider subscribing and leave a comment. I will take better care of myself. Because you didn't stop feeling. You stopped abandoning yourself.